Okay, I'm Tiffany Alexander. I have a master's in education and I'm a licensed professional counselor. I want to talk about emotional abuse today. That happens a lot. A lot of people, when they think of emotional abuse, they think of a man emotionally abusing a woman, but that's not always the case. We see a lot of times in therapy where a woman is emotionally abusing a man. Women don't have the physical strength to physically abuse a man the way we've seen in the past with domestic violence cases and things like that. But some women are actually very emotionally abusive to their husbands, and the men don't reach out because of embarrassment. We also see emotional abuse in same-sex couples. It's the same thing. The thing is, what emotional abuse does is one person breaks down the other person's confidence within themselves, so that one person is in more control of the relationship, that somebody holds the power more than the other person by, making the other person doubt themselves, not have confidence, lower their self-esteem, just by systematically not validating them, not listening to them, being negative, being critical, that sort of thing, until that other person is in a less than position so that they can kind of stay in a more powerful position. But it happens in all kinds of relationships. It can happen in friendships, it can happen in working relationships. Emotional abuse is just as real as physical abuse, but it doesn't show the same scars. There's no bruises to prove it. Emotional abuse is if your spouse or a person is belittling someone else, that would be a way that you would know you're being emotionally abused. A lot of people who are in an emotionally abusive relationship feel like they can't leave, that nobody else would love them, nobody else would be with them. So really negative and irrational thoughts about oneself. I think it's very important to pay attention to what other people are saying, feedback you're getting from the people who care about you, the people who are around you, the people who see you and that other person interact. That's important feedback. Also, if you feel like the other person is controlling you, if you feel like you can't make choices on your own, if you're making your choices in direct reflection of how you think that person would want you to choose, instead of feeling free to pick chicken for dinner instead of beef. Very simple things could be signs of emotional abuse. Feeling not like you could leave is a sign of emotional abuse. Everybody should be in a situation because you'd hope that everybody is in their situation because they want to. They feel, everything's not going to be perfect all the time. There's ups and downs to everything, but not you're there because you feel trapped. I think of emotional abuse like there's the story about a frog in a beaker. So if you put a frog in a beaker of boiling water, it's going to jump out. If you put a frog in water and slowly heat up the beaker, it'll sit and boil to death. And that's what emotional abuse is, because the situation around someone changes at a slow pace so they don't know it until they self-destruct a lot of times. Well, yeah, a lot of emotionally abusive people are emotionally abusive to everybody. They have their preferred person that they break down. It's not as gratifying to someone to break down a weak person. It's much more gratifying to break down a strong person, or someone who appears to be strong to other people. So even though everybody might say that you're a very strong person, that doesn't mean you're not being emotionally abused, and that doesn't mean that you're the person who has to stand up to the other person. That doesn't mean it's your fault.